for the mic.
The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of warmth and brightness of our connections.
The flame lights our way back together again from our separate summer lives, and it lights our way forward into this new church year of promise and renewal.
It's already lit. I think we've got it covered. It was an affirming flame. Good job, team.
I kind of love that none of us saw that coming. No, I just that mic for them and everything.
Y'all, Hadley and Eloise, I'm so sorry. Guess what happens when the choir finally comes back? We forget they're big enough to block the pulpit. And part of what happens when people who have been apart too long come together in celebration again, we get to be awkward together. I love us for that. Welcome indeed to this place where every single one of us contributes our part to a greater whole. A community that enriches our lives and our larger world. Today's service features our annual water ceremony, an ingathering of the waters in this ceremony, which is familiar to many of you and perhaps new to others, which we have not practiced in this space for 3 years. 3 years. We celebrate the interconnection that we share through the mingling of these drops. Now, we do so this year knowing full well that this is a time both near to home and around the world riven by drought and by flood, by water that finds a way to run and appears through the cracks of the parched and hurting earth, knowing that much of the future will depend upon the mutual sharing and tending of water that once intermingled cannot be pulled apart. And so today's service features stories of drought and flood and power and possibility. This morning, we symbolically gather the waters of the world, the waters of our lives, so that in coming together, we can fully renew our spirits. If you brought water from your house, from your travels, from the water fountain or the beach or the puddle that magically formed in your front yard this morning, we will welcome you later in the service to combine it right here. And if you did not bring water, don't worry. We have got you covered too. There is plenty the symbol no less powerful if it comes from the pitcher we filled up today. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world, and it dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean. The same stream of life runs in every river and lake, in every place we might go. The same stream of life runs in me and you, and in this place, and in the gift of gathering. So let's begin it, people. Let us begin it truly by rising in body or in spirit or with any part of you can muster at long last while being song-led by the River Road Choir. Our hymn is Gather the Spirit. The lyrics will be projected right up there. Let's sing with all we've got.
This morning's story is an adaptation of an adaptation. This parable from this morning comes from the Haitian tradition and teaches us all about the perils of responsibility, choices, and cooperation. So imagine with me this morning that our shared water station up here is the well that runs for the entire community, a vibrant community of animals that they gather around for their nourishment and for connection. But unfortunately, the well has run dry. And that's where our story begins. So I'd like to invite up all of the animals that are going to join us at the watering well this morning to come sit with us right here on the steps for this morning's story.
I'm just gonna give him a second.
Is it on?
I'm just saying, how many ears can one minister wear? So,
All right.
you know, yeah.
There was once a drought in the country. The streams dried up and the wells went dry. The universal one of many names that some call God saw there was no place for the animals to drink. So God provided a well with one condition, that it must be taken care of so all could use it.
So God said to all the creatures, "Here's a well for you to drink from, but you'll have to take good care of it. This means that one of you has to be the caretaker, and that caretaker has to stay at the well at all times to keep it clean and make sure there's enough for everyone." And God asked, "Who wants to do it?"
The lizard was the first one with their hand up in the air, saying, "It's me, pick me."
And God looked at all the animals. Anyone? Anyone else, perhaps? Just the one volunteer? All right. You can be the caretaker, lizard, but you have to come down to the well right here, watch over it, take care of it, and I'll be right over here if you need me.
Lizard went directly to the well, but when other animals began to come back for water, Lizard challenged them. First, the cow came to drink. Lizard sang out in a big voice, "Who is it? Who's coming to my grove?" The cow replied, "It's me, your friend the cow, just coming for water." Lizard said, "Go away, this is God's grove, and the well is dry." So the cow went away and suffered from thirst.
Then the horse came by, and Lizard did the exact same thing, saying, "Who's in my grove?" The horse answered, "It's just me, the horse, I'm your friend. I heard there was finally water in this well, and I'm coming to get some." Lizard laughed and scoffed. "Nice try. This is God's grove, and God put me in charge of it, and it's dry." So the horse went away and suffered too from thirst.
Other animals came and went, and Lizard did the same thing, challenging each of them, saying things like,
"That's not enough. We've always done it like this. As per my last email, get your own water. I'm in charge here."
So the animals went away and suffered much because they had no water to drink.
So God saw all of this suffering going on and was really confused why the animals were still thirsting so much with all of the water they had put in the well. And God was like, "I gave all the animals water to drink from, but they're all dying of thirst. What's going on?" And so God went down to the well to check it out.
As usual, when the lizard heard footsteps, they called out, "Who is it? Who's walking in my grove again?" And God answered, "It's me, the universal one. I'm coming for water."
And of course, Lizard said, "The well is dry," which did not go over well at all, because God was like, "It's literally me. I'm literally God. So can I please have some water?" And the lizard shrugged their shoulders and said, "Nope."
So rather than going back and forth, God called all the animals together along with the lizard. "Here's the thing," said God. "Although I was the one that created and filled this well with water, it's all of our responsibility to keep it clean and available for everyone. Lizard, I chose you to be the steward of this well because you are vigilant and intelligent, and because you really wanted to."
And God continued on, "Being a steward is not about gatekeeping or guarding. It's about discernment and trust. This is not just a water well. This is an opportunity to build connection and community around a really important need that we all have. 2 birds, 1 stone."
The birds really did not appreciate this.
God finished by saying, "Thank you, lizard. Thank you for all of your care and your diligence. May we each be as bold and protective as you."
But in your protection of the well, did you even quench your own thirst? This water is meant to take care of you as much as you are meant to take care of it.
And by taking care of the water, we take care of one another.
So the animals, including Lizard, all drank together, laughing and connecting, happy to be part of a community with an abundance of joy.
The end. Thank you, Luca. That was great.
All right. Now you head back to yours.
Oh, that's me. So much abundance, so much connection, and so much joy. I want to invite us all into a moment of presence, basking in that knowing, grounded in that knowing. And when we get present and do our meditation or our grounding or our prayer, what we're really doing is arriving fully to this moment. We're arriving to this knowing that on this morning, the people assembled here, the people watching from home, this is a moment and a time we will never have again. That we are stewards not only of this space, but that we are stewards of this time of connection, of community, of coming together both near and far. So with that in mind, I invite you now to join me in that moment. Rooting to your spot, whether you're here, whether you're joining us from elsewhere, perhaps closing your eyes or lowering your gaze, becoming present and solid in this moment. We call forth the spirit of life, the spirit of love, that spirit that flows like water through each of our hearts and each of our lives, connecting us to all the moments that came before and all that is to come. Drawing us closer to one another, closer to this space, closer to the heart of it all, not because we are perfect, not because we have all the answers, not because we are infinitely capable of doing everything on the to-do list, but because we are enough and we are worthy. We're worthy for connection. We're worthy of love. We are worthy to come together in faith, community with one another. We come with so many complications in our lives and in our hearts, this blessed complexity of life. Perhaps in times of abundance, in times of flood, in times of drought. Sometimes there's too much and sometimes there's not enough. But we gather still. Our hearts are lifted to all of those in this world right now, struggling with isolation, unable to reach out, unable to connect. Those who are dealing with a flood of mishap, misfortune. Those who are cut off from their community, those who haven't yet found that. Those who are seeking and who are searching. Our hearts are also filled with joy for all that we do gather around us. Those that we love, those that we get the honor of sharing life with. Those who are complicated, those who are complex. And yet we gather still. As we move into this day, into this hour, into this upcoming congregational year, may we hold the deepest truth in our heart. May we prioritize connection over perfection. May we move with a gratitude, be grounded in that gratitude, that we are still here, even those who are no longer with us, are still here with us. May we be connected deeply to that knowing. May we move with that gratitude and that grace, making space for all that is to come throughout this time we will share together throughout this year. May we do it knowing that we are held by one another and that we are woven together in this garment of love and of beauty. May it be so on this morning, as it is each and every day. Ashe, and blessed be.
A long time ago, there lived a wise sage named Confucius. Now, Confucius had heard the legend that only 2 days away from where he lived and worked and taught and learned with his students was the most magnificent waterfall, grander than any other waterfall in the land. And so, he packed up a cart, a picnic lunch for the day, and he and his 2 very eager students made their way to the waterfall. Now, when they got there, it turned out that all the legends were true. The waterfall they saw before them was grander than even he imagined. It flowed over the rocks, it tumbled over the plains. Its majesty was unrivaled in all the kingdoms, which is only maybe a tiny exaggeration. The point is, it was amazing. And just in the moment when he and his students were staring up at the majesty of the falls, they found that they saw something at the very top of the cliffs.
Look, there's a man. He's going to fall.
And surely they did. In exactly that moment, the man, seen as a tiny spot from afar, tumbled down from the high cliffs, plunging into the water and surely the dangerous rocks below. Confucius and his students, certain that this man who had brought such risk upon himself was dead, determined that they would need to go and retrieve the body. At least then there would be some comfort for the man's grieving family. And so just as they set off for this act of kindness to retrieve the body of this one who had died in the tumultuous waves, they saw that the man began to swim. Sure and strong, stroke after stroke, the man came toward them until he rose up from the water, and they saw to their amazement this swimmer, who had plummeted from the highest heights, was no man at all, but indeed a woman. I have grown up by the side of this waterfall. I've spent my whole life watching it, and the currents and how it moves, and where. I pay attention. And going into the water, I have learned how to go with the various currents that carry me. I never struggle with it. I simply flow with it. I go with it. And so I am always safe. And so Confucius and his friends invited the strange woman to enjoy their lunch with him. They shared their picnic. They went back to their place of work to learn, to study, to form the great philosophies of the world. But they never forgot the courage and the wisdom of this one woman who knew that when the mighty waters of life flow, our best answer and our highest hope is to flow with it. I mean, we're all actors. In our water ceremony, we mingle these drops as a symbol of what it is to be in community, connected and never fully apart. But perhaps we also mingle these waters because we want to be a part of something mighty, something that carries us along torrential paths, something we can let ourselves free to float in, a force capable of carving canyons out of rock, possibility from impossibility, not just through some mighty cataclysm of flood or of drought, but one single drop at a time, combined 10,000-fold into a power greater than any of us can hold alone.
Let there be some healing in this ritual. The knowledge that we don't always have to fight our way through life, but submit to the unyielding strength of the current that moves within us and beyond us. In the words of Tyler Knott Gregson, I think I am water, and I think I always have been. I go my own way and somehow, without knowing how, find my way through the cracks and the crevices, the grooves and the holes in the rocks that form around these fragile hearts of ours. For all the rocks that formed around our own fragile hearts, for the gentle and persistent waters that wear them down and carry them away, for another year full of hope and possibility, we are grateful.
And so we'll invite you, as the music plays, to come forward to mingle these waters you have brought with you or that we've provided for you. Come on up if you can in the middle aisle and return down the side, or you know what, just make room for one another. Some holy chaos is surely part of the drill when community comes together. We make a way for each of us, everyone. And you can go from either side. This last contribution to our water communion collection has been assembled since at least 1988. from the commingled drops in this place, from those who came before us, from our children when they were tiny who are now grown, from those of us who taught those children when they were tiny, from those of us who had not even imagined what it would be to have a community like this one. And so the commingled drops of our own congregational history added to the whole. What gifts we bring, what journeys we have had, what hopes have carried us to this moment. This water, commingled over decades and gathered on this very morning, is a symbol of just where we've been, and it's a symbol of what we bring. What holds us up, the strength beyond our small selves. From the oceans of the world, from the rivers of the world, from the lakes of the world.
From the springs and streams whose water renew us, the lakes, the rivers, and the oceans. From the rain and the snow, these waters come to quench the thirst of all living things and carve mighty canyons from the rock. From the tears of joy and tears of sorrow that we have shed, we have brought the water of our lives. We have shared them with hope and celebration, for it is our tremendous blessing to be together.
Now, for the very first kickoff of religious education that we have had in this building during a bright fall season in a very long time, I invite children, youth, religious educators, and those working with our religious education program to head out and do your thing.
I'm gonna sit down there. I don't think I need to.
I know it seems normal, maybe, but God, how long we've waited for that. For that moment when children and families and teachers and educators can do something that feels even a little bit normal. How long we've waited for that. We gather in this place to give what we can, how we can, from the depths of our spirits. We gather each week in this time of offering when we're invited to give what gifts we have for the work we share. And this week, inspired by what it means to do something normal that feels really brave, we're making a special invitation here in our time of offering. An invitation to lift up not just your generosity in all of the ways that it comes. Your generosity can be shared with our congregation in this time of offering on the website, through the collection box right there in the back. Text to RRUUC to 73256, you know the drill. But most importantly this morning, we're inviting you to give a greater gift, a gift of action. One of a small little something that connects you and your family to the interconnected whole that feeds the waters and sustains this earth. As a community so thirsty for connection, River Road is grateful that we're entering into what we understand to be a year of reset in regard to our warming planet and our relationships to one another upon it. In 2020, this congregation formally agreed to recertify as a green sanctuary, which means that this commitment to walk differently on the earth, to move at one with our surrounding, it's not just a commitment of a few leaders, but the whole congregation. So today, our Earth Ministry team, I see Walter and I see Heidi over there. They have worked really hard to put together for you 3 easy actions to start off your own year of reset by reducing your own household CO2 emissions right away. So during this time of offering right now, we invite you to pledge to do one of these easy actions, and you can in fact do it right from your phone. You can see that we offer you some options about how you might want to eat, how you might want to reset your thermostat, how you can travel in different ways. At home, you'll see a Google form pop up in the chat. You can click right on it. You can head to the mobile version of our River Road website on your phone right now, www.rruuc.org. If you give it just one moment, you'll see a green slide reading 3 easy actions that'll pop up right at the top of your home screen. You'll also find it in our online order of service. You can tap that link, type your email address, and scroll down to see which easy action you pledge to do going forward, or in fact, to type in your own, because that's the kind of free choice people we are here. Otherwise, we want to invite you to ponder if you and your household are already committed in 1,000 ways to hit the button which says "Ready for More" and look for more information in the coming months. Every journey has next steps, and once we take the first ones, we'll invite you to think of our intermediate steps coming next, including climate reset workshops, sponsored by our Earth Ministry team and beginning in October, where together we can workshop what it means to address larger systemic and policy approaches to reverse global warming. So let us give, not just from the pocketbook, but from our power, to each other and to the world, interconnected always, dependent upon this earth and upon each other. What a time to celebrate with water. Those most elemental of forces. What a time to celebrate that part of the interdependent web, which, like so many other parts of that which connects us, has proven once again its ability both to give life and to take it. Surrounded by water, trapped and isolated by water. Right in this moment, the people of Pakistan are just another in the long line of those around the world and near at home facing flooding that will very likely lead to looming hunger crises. Right in this place, Tangier Island, sitting in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, struggles to stay above water, with land loss on that tiny speck of great cultural significance happening at 15 feet of lost shoreline every year. And the mega drought, you know that one. The mega drought facing the western United States, it is the worst it has been in 1,200 years. What a time to gather and to celebrate with water, for water itself points to a fundamental truth that without it there is no life, without it there is no interdependent web, without it there is no coming together again, no rebuilding to be done, and yet water does not simply nourish. Water also floods, water also drowns, water also moves in and above the creations of human hands, much as our own collective power. As human beings, as nations, it moves in ways that sometimes overpowers even our best intentions. To sustain or to overwhelm, to uplift or to sweep away, to make from a community a sustaining source of hope against all odds, because a great many things in this world depend for their survival upon it. And so today we come together, all awkward and eager and full of song. We come together, cupped in our hands, these little vials of tiny elements formed through the interplay of sun and wind and the earth herself, these tiny elements combined over the course of thousands of years and stuck together through the mysterious cohesion of elements that comprises perhaps the most powerful, dangerous, life-giving substance in the whole universe, a substance that has met us everywhere we have gone, from the beach to the city park to the tap in the hallway bathroom right here. Today, like every day, we come to this place cupping mystery and power in our hands, asking what it is we shall do with this great power we have been given. For like water, the power of the human community can give life and it can take it. Like water, human beings have the power to crack through mountains of injustice and otherwise. We also have the power to overwhelm, to flood away, to undo, to suppress the weak, to submerge the helpless. Yes, we too have the power of creation and of destruction. And the question for our coming together this year, every year, is simply this: how will we use this power? How will we, in the mingling of our waters, choose to wield the mystery of our own force in this world? We gather on the anniversary of September 11th, 2001. The anniversary of a day when members of our own congregation faced moments that would change them forever. On the anniversary of a day when members of our human family wielded their power in order to crush, both then and after, to hurt, to terrify one another, we gather because we believe in the mingling of the waters each of us brings in community. We can model a better way. The flood waters cannot choose to stop flowing over the hurting places. The rain cannot choose to fall in the barren lands, but we can choose to be like water that quenches the thirst, like water that pours over the fertile fields so that there might be food for all. We can choose. As the Tao Te Ching reminds us, nothing in the world is as soft and as yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and the inflexible things, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. You can try to break a stone apart, bust it all into pieces with some great big hammer. You can try to demand with brute force the change the world needs or the change that is called for in your own heart. You can push yourself around and push others and get all flexy about it. Or you can cast away the stones that hold you back from flowing with the waters of this world. You can let a powerful gentleness carry you along and try to begin again, stronger and lighter for the journey that demands not your coercion, but your participation. And so, in this time, we cast away the stones or the boulders or the sand of our fear and failure into ancient streams and oceans. We let go of the unyielding surface of our need to control, the unyielding surface of our anger and our anxiety, and right now, we let something simultaneously soft and powerful take us and pull us inexorably onward toward each other. Here on this river road, we can try to put the softness that breaks through boulders into practice. As the rain falls down right on cue for Water Communion Sunday, we are connected, each drop making its way not alone, but together through it all.
Coming to the edge, running on the water, coming to the
I mean, what more of a representation could we possibly need of what it takes to create meaning and hope together? So this morning, I want to say thank you to everybody who makes our community possible, including the community that we built for one another this morning. The choir is back, baby. Thank you, Ben, on the drums. Thank you, Jane, for the flowers. Schwai, Cliff, the entire tech crew. We got Scott, Marcia, Dave up there, our videographers today and storytellers. And perhaps most importantly, and certainly on my heart, our Earth Ministry team and our religious educators.
Yeah.
Everything we do together is not just more things to put on the to-do list, but an expression of how we want to be together. And we want to invite you, indeed, to talk with the Earth Ministry team today about how you can participate in the next phase, the climate workshops that we'll be offering in October, and everything to come in this year of reset. I also want to let you know, if you find yourself feeling called to move among this merry and strange band of travelers, we'll be hosting a membership book signing after the service today. We'll be right up there by the stairwell, and next Sunday we'll have a new member reception up the stairs and I think outside. So please come and mingle together, have some bites and snacks, and enjoy each other's company next week. The following week, this is I can't remember what day. The following Sunday, we'll be celebrating a certain senior minister's 10 years of service with you all after the service. So I hope you'll join us for that as well. And finally, every year, for so long that it's deep into the bones of this place, River Roaders raise money to build scholarship funds for economically disadvantaged students who shine with possibility and promise. This year's College Access fundraiser will again be virtual and will feature the amazing music of Leah Morris, who's a beloved friend and contributor to the life of River Road. Her unique sound will bring to life songs of the civil rights movement and her original songs from the theme Lifting as We Climb, which is Leah's new album. You can make suggested donations, but the event is free. Let's log on and be together. It is September 24th at 7 p.m. And for a good word of benediction, Reverend Amanda.
As we extinguish our chalice this morning, I invite you to hold your hands out, maybe palms to the sky, to connect your energy and your presence and your light and your love with those who surround you. In times of flood or in times of drought, may we carry that abundance in our hearts as we move through this day, through this week, and for the time to come. May it be so. Blessed be. Ashe. Go now in peace. The rain.